Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magical Journey. I'm your host, Daniel Cahoon. And before we get started with today's show, I would like to do just a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, definitely go check out the website magicaljourney.com. Has all of the information you need concerning social media, how to contact me. There's new information on how to join my new Patreon and the place to go to also for magical merch, which all of this goes to help support and help to grow the podcast. So, uh, the one thing I definitely want to point out too with that is the Facebook group, which is really important to go to and join if you would like to get some heads up on current things that are being posted on the podcast and for supplemental material on some of the stuff that is happening. You'll notice lately that there's a lot of stuff on the Trini Gibson case uh, coming up, which the interview with Laura Risti will be coming up in a couple of weeks. So you'll see more on that in the group as well. And also, I did post my first post on Lemonade because why not? This week. So yeah, it's all on there. It's all on there. Today I have a guest who was suggested to me by Sin Schrader Hill. I know you guys are familiar with Sin, and I get really good uh, suggestions from her from time to time. I'm excited today to be able to have this interview because I feel there's some really good information coming out of this, and I believe that is a timely interview. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring you Jonathan from JK47 Paranormal.
What's up, buddy? How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
All right. So, if you could just very briefly give us a little bit of a bio, promote anything that you would like to promote.
Yeah, sure. My name's Jonathan Keyworth. I have been investigating since July of 2020. So it's almost 5 years now. Um, my first cases I started working on were mostly domestic cases, home incidents, and I've been doing it. Oh, geez. I did 15 cases from coast to coast. I did it all on my own dime. I never charged anybody anything. Um, and I've helped these families, with getting rid of whatever was there. And I guess my first interest in paranormal started when I was 18. Um, Me and my buddy were at a country dance club, and we met these two girls, and they said, "Do you want to see a ghost?" And I was like, "Whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So they took us to this place in Colorado called the Riverdale Runner, and you go to this parking lot, and you stand in the northwest corner of the parking lot. And I swear to God, man, I've never believed in ghosts since I was 18, and so they're like, "Who wants to go first?" I was like, "I'll go." Being the tough guy, that I wanted to score some points with the ladies, and so I stood up in that corner. And I kid you not, man, it was like 70 degrees out, so it was fairly warm, and I'm standing there just waiting for something to happen. All of a sudden, my arms, my body started getting real cold. The hair started standing up on my arms, and I was like, I was like, whoa, what's going on? And it was like a gravel parking lot. So I start hearing these footsteps, and they
Oh,
run right
jeez.
by you. They like it runs right by you, and then it just starts over again. I'd never been so afraid in my life because they were way away from me, like at least like 30 feet away from me, and I didn't know what to expect, and I was terrified. I ran to my what was I driving at that time? A Bronco 2, and I ran to that Bronco. I said, "You better get in, or you're staying here." And I tore ass out of there, and we went somewhere else for the rest of the night. But that was crazy, and I just I couldn't explain it. So it always sat there in the back of my mind, and later down the road, I joined the army um, in January 2001. Um, I was almost homeless, and so I said, "What the heck? I'll join the army." So, um, I went to the recruiter and had this really cool video of guys jumping out of planes and stuff. I was like, "I want to do that. I need a little excitement." So I did that. Graduated basic, went to airborne, and then went to the Ranger introductory program. Got kicked out of there. Got sent to Fort Hood, and met all my brothers in the 19 cab. And then 9/11 happened
Hmm.
when I got there. I remember we were on a base, and I was cleaning up brass at a training site, and then over the radio said the tower was hit by an airplane, and then it said the second tower was hit to report back, and we got everybody was battle ready, waiting for the call to go. And we didn't end up going to Afghanistan. We went to Iraq, and
Hmm.
we were the first ones in Fallujah.
Wow.
And when we got to where we set our base up, um, I remember when we first got there that night, we were laying on the ground, getting some rest, and each one of our platoons, picked a different building. There were three platoons, and we were laying there on the ground, and it was about midnight, and I'd just gotten off of guard duty, and I was laying there, and all of a sudden, I started hearing children laughing, like a bunch of children just laughing. I looked over to my left, and my buddy was up, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he heard it too. So there was two of us, and I'm like, "Dude, there's no kids around here. What the hell is that
Wow.
laughing?" And yeah. So from that point on, if you want to see the rest of that story, I was on a TV show called Mission Unexplained. It's on the Discovery Plus app, and it is what is it? It's season one. Uh, I think it's the third episode, and I'm halfway in the middle there. And it tells the rest of the story of how I found my spirit guides. And
Wow.
it they did a very good job. Uh, the little actor that plays me. So they did an awesome job recreating it. So that was really cool that I was invited to do that. And
Yeah.
so like going back, I started doing these home investigations, and then after that, the money kind of dried out, and I started doing work from home here. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna start working on cold cases, and using my spirit box with my equipment back here. And I've gotten a lot of interesting responses from here in my house that is not haunted, you know, through the
Right.
spirit box. I say I did all my sessions live, and then I would, go through and enhance them with my app, and I'd get these crazy responses. I haven't talked to Spirit in the last 3 months. Something happened to me that I just had no desire to come back, and I don't know if I will. We'll see, but I'm just waiting for a sign for something. I think he was saying you need to take a break. So,
Right.
but yeah, I got your 3 clips here. Whenever you want to show them, you just click on them, hit play, and they'll pop up, and I'll talk about them afterwards if you wanted to do that.
Okay. So let's go to the first one then and check this out.
There's something there, guys. I gotta review that. Jameson family. Your bodies were found about 3 miles away from your truck. Can you tell me how you died? How did you die? I think I heard they shot us. Did they shoot you with their gun, Carolyn? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Carolyn.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was the Jameson family case in Oklahoma. The whole family went out to look at a property, and they never came back. And some hunters found their truck, and inside their truck was the family dog Maisie, that was just barely alive. Um, and they never found their bodies until 3 years later. Some hunters found some bones about 3 miles away from the where the truck was found. And the interesting thing, in the truck, there was a bag of money under the seat. It had like $30,000 in it. So, yeah,
Wow.
I'm friends with the sheriff of that case on Facebook, and I don't know if he heard it or not. I sent it to him. He never sent back, but he did answer my friend request. So, I did many sessions with them. If you guys want to see those sessions, they're on my YouTube. You just go to JK47 Paranormal. You can see the live session, as well as uh, the best response clips that I did. And it's also I have the best clips on my TikTok as well. You just look for the name that's like on my picture here, JK47 Paranormal. Just type it in the search engine and it'll bring it up.
Wow. That's a heavy case. That is really heavy. Um, and so it's still an open case. They haven't solved it yet.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
is so
the funny
sad.
thing is, like, throughout all the sessions I did like 10 sessions with them. And they when I would ask the wife a question, a woman's voice would come through. When I asked the child a question, a child voice would come through. And when I would ask a question, for all of them, um, it was the dad that would speak. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and that first response is so clear. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this
Yeah,
is
it's crazy. And I'm using just the standard SB7. No special. I just hook it up to my stereo back there, and you know it it's really weird, man. Like that was a long response. I'd use 150 milliseconds, so it's scanning through the channels pretty fast. And in order to get that kind of response, it went through easily through like 7 different radio stations, and it was constant same voice. So I don't know. I that's the one I play for a lot of non-believers. How do I get this constant response through 7 radio stations with the same voice and answering the question that I asked?
Right, right. It's very convincing sometimes to people when they're faced with stuff like that. Like one of the sessions that I did, I had just got through. Um, Actually, I just got through doing a ritual to empower the iron stakes, railroad ties stakes that I put
Oh
in my
wow,
yard.
yeah,
And they were still, my altar was still sitting there. I was, the stakes were still sitting there on the altar, dressed. I was just letting it do its thing. And I decided to open up a session. And the very first thing that came out was ritual.
wow,
And I was like, okay, well, somebody's in the know here. And the deeper it went, I mean, it was a female that was coming through, and she was all in my business voiceover with. I'm like, wow. Um, so it's and things like that when they happen is it's convincing to those who are in doubt. A lot of times, I gotta tell you, if it like the couple of times that I've had full blown conversations, sentences, and so forth like that, uh, it was freaky to me.
Yeah, I don't get scared anymore. Like I get excited, like a kid at Christmas that just opened a present. I get really excited. I'm like, oh, holy shit!
Uh, it wasn't really fear as much as it was kind of like, wow, this is different, you know.
Yeah,
Uh, and then and then having them sometimes they physically manifest things too uh, during some sessions. So it's very interesting. I always tell people if they're going to do things like that, keep a camera rolling all the time, the whole time
yeah.
you're doing it, because you don't want to miss anything.
Oh yeah, I got 2 GoPros. I make sure I have all angles covered so I can prove to people that, hey, I'm not touching any of this stuff. I'm
Right,
not ghost adventurers. Where there's 8 people in
right.
the room that you don't see.
Yeah. So do you prefer the GoPro?
Yeah, yeah, it works. It works good. Like I said, I've got a lot of interesting stuff on my YouTubes, and yeah. But ever since I started doing sessions down here, it's just my webcam that I use. I used to use my GoPro because I used to not do them live, and like there was a case I was working on with Suzanne Morphew. She died on Mother's Day of 2020 here in
Mhm.
Colorado, and this weird light anomaly uh, quickly flashed above my head when she was giving an answer, and it like I paused the picture, and you could see like a spirit in this light anomaly. It's
Wow.
really weird. And if you see this TV behind me,
Yeah.
it's an old TV I bought for $5 at a garage sale because I remember in the '80s people were getting images
Hmm.
of spirits with the TV on and stuff. So I don't have a remote for it or anything. It's an old analog television, and I always turn it on during the sessions, to hope something would want to show itself. And in this next clip, it actually turns itself off.
Oh
So
wow.
it's really cool. Yeah, this was for the Don Lewis case. So
So this
yeah,
is the one here in the middle.
yeah, with the red writing there. Yeah.
Yeah, let's check that out right quick then.
Let's try one more time. Who was there when you were murdered? Yeah, watch it again there.
Oh wow. Oh gee. Wow.
Yeah,
So
so Don Lewis, he was married to Carol Baskins. If that name sounds familiar, that was the Tiger King whole thing down in
yeah.
Florida, and her husband mysteriously disappeared, so she became the owner of her cat sanctuary, and
Mhm.
um, so I figured, what the heck, I'll do a session, and um, right when the answer came, I said, who else was there when you were murdered? And it said Chris, and the TV turns off. Like it shouldn't turn off
Yeah.
for any reason. And I was like, oh my gosh! When I reviewed that, I was like, oh god. Even the name came through really clearly, and it
Yeah.
was kind of one of those oh my gosh moments. And that was done with my GoPro too. So that was before I did the live sessions.
Wow. I had one of those televisions in my room when I was younger, and that sucker would start flipping channels by itself and all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Uh, and picking up voices and just crazy, crazy stuff. But I think the one time that really got my attention was it turned itself on, and I could clearly see what looked like a family sitting at a dinner table having a conversation.
whoa,
And I was like, okay. And it wasn't on a station. I mean, we only had maybe four stations at that time, and it wasn't
yeah.
on a station. I mean, it was snow on the screen, and then you could see, those images coming up, and I was like, okay, this is not okay. I don't want to be eavesdropping on people. Um,
No,
is it,
and that's what I believe. Spirits, I believe they can use their voices and stuff through any frequency,
mhm,
and when you get into those higher frequencies, they're able to show you stuff, and that's what I'm really hoping for, is if there's someone out there that can build a device. I want a spirit box basically that operates on those old analog TV frequencies, so that I might get fuller sentences, or be able to have like a conversation like we're having now, and they'll be able to answer back, a lot quicker. Because I think that higher frequency is something that would help in the communication with spirit. But I've talked to um, three different people that build this equipment, and they tell me, oh yeah, we'll look into it, and I haven't heard anything. So it's like, they just kind of blow it off. So I'm just waiting for that one day, somebody will take it serious, and you know
you know,
because
I'm gonna
nothing's operating on those analog signals anymore, because everything's high definition now. So it would
right.
be the perfect thing to listen to spirit through. So
It really would. You know what? I'm gonna like when this is over. I'm gonna put a name out there to you of somebody who does work on equipment,
okay.
and um, maybe direct your request toward him, because uh, this sounds like something that he might be interested in
Yeah.
tackling.
In fact, right here, this is all it is. This is all what an analog tuner looks like. This is out of a VCR, so it's just a
Oh my
matter of putting it.
goodness!
putting this into a spirit box, and you can hook up a bigger antenna to it, through the coax cable. But you know, people say it'd be too hard. I don't think it would be if they knew exactly what was going on with it. So
It sounds like a worthwhile thing because, like you said, analog is not a thing anymore. It's
yeah, it
all
would
on
be all
digital.
static. Everything's HD now. So
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that would be so cool to see the results of.
yeah, no, I'd kill for something like that. Just like a standard, SB7 spirit box. I mean, it might be a little larger, because of the casing and stuff that you would need, but I really believe that that would work. And holy cow, if it did, and I was able to have conversations like we're having now and hear it clearly, you know, I, it'd revolutionize the market. So
Right? Yeah, because here's the things like you you can always get one or two responses and so forth like that in a session easily from spirit boxes and other devices, but uh, when it gets to the point where they're doing full blown sentences and you're having a whole conversation, it's like that's a different level. That's a different level altogether. Um,
no, I totally agree. And I believe, the more uh electric magnetic frequencies, that you use, the easier it'd be to talk to them because you're using more power and a higher signal. So
right, right. I mean, it's logical. That's the thing with this is it's purely logical and it's beautiful. It's
yeah,
a beautiful thought to be able to do that. Uh, you know, I love the technology that we have now. Don't get me wrong, but there's something to be said about the beauty of that which is not our current technology. Like my favorite thing ever, like that we ever created as a human being, are cat balls.
yeah,
I, I think that is like one of the best things we ever create as a race of people. Um,
yeah. I've
and
I've used them a lot, and in fact, I'll bring up a fourth clip for you. It was a investigation down in Texas that I did. Let me see if I can bring that in. um, where is it? I don't know if I have it. Anyways, if you wanted to play that next clip while I'm looking, that would work too.
yeah, let's do that right quick.
Can you tell me what room in the apartment you died in? What room did you die in?
Whoa.
Yeah, that was the Ellen Greenberg case. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. She was a school teacher in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a blizzard, and she came home from school, and she went to her apartment, and just her and her fiance lived there, and uh, her fiance went to the gym in the apartment complex and came back and had to kick the door in, and she was found stabbed
Hmm.
22 times, 10 times in the back, and 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 like 11 times in the front. And he found her with the knife in the heart. And um, like where she was found was in the kitchen, and there was like a small pool of blood. You'd figure if you're stabbed that many times, it would be a lot more blood. So the family was like, yeah, she was moved, and as you could tell from that last clip, she was murdered in the bathroom. And I guarantee, if the police did a proper investigation of that bathroom, they'd find some blood somewhere. Anyways, the fiance, Sam Goldberg, um, his parents are friends with now who is the governor of Pennsylvania. Um, what's his name? He was going to be he was one of the runners for vice president for Kamala Harris, and um, I can't remember his name. But there's so many. It's such an interesting case. It was a total cover up because they declared her death a suicide.
Hmm.
Like, how do you stab yourself 10 times in the back and 10 times in the front and declare that as suicide? It makes no sense. So
Yeah, no.
it's a total cover up. And I did everything I could to try to help the family. I actually talked to the cousin, and sent her some clips, and she had me ask some questions that nobody would know except Ellen. And I got some responses, but apparently it wasn't convincing enough for her. So, um, I did everything I could. I tried to help, as much as I could. But right now, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court may overturn the case and have them reinvestigate. And
Hmm.
it's been like, oh God, it's been at least 20 years since anybody's worked on that case. And they have a lawsuit against the coroners and stuff. Yeah, so it's a pretty intense case. Just look up Ellen Greenberg. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that's another one to put on the on my list. Right now, I'm working on the Trini Gibson 411 case out of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if you're, yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
no.
It was one of the big five from the park there, and oh, thought I was gonna have to sneeze. Maybe not. Okay. Every time I bring up Trini's name, something weird is going on somewhere. Um, she was a 16-year-old girl, October the 8th of 1976. Her horticulture class took a trip to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park to what was then called Cleveland's Dome. And they were to walk up to Andrews Bald, observe the plants, the fauna and fauna, yeah, that stuff, and then go back down. She was one of her older brothers. Her older brother was in town on leave. He was getting ready to go to uh, station to Guam on a ship. He had just gotten home from that day before on leave. A friend of his who went to school with Trini still, he asked him, Robert Simpson, if he would keep an eye on Trini. They spent the time walking up to Andrew's Bald, hanging out together. He told her some lame story about wanting to track a bear. And she was kind of like, you know what, I'm done. I'm ready to go back. The weather was horrible. Um, she and some of the other students headed back toward the bus, and about two-thirds of the way back down to the parking lot, she literally just vanished.
Wow.
Went off the trail or something. No trace of her ever. And so this case has been going on. Laura Risti, who is a person who I've been talking to, the authority on this case, has been working on it for like 22 years now, has gathered tons of information. But to this day, nobody knows. I mean, it was just a weird situation, very similar to a couple of other of the big five from the park there. The Dennis Martin case is another one where, 6-year-old kid just vanished, just disappeared in an area that is not very, you can clearly see through the area that he disappeared at. But the Trini case is definitely the one that I'm working on now, but I'll have to look into Ellen Green too now, because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, Ellen Greenberg. Yeah.
Greenberg. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's so many cases like that are just so weird. And they never quite, they always miss the mark. They never quite get the information fully. The investigations are flawed somehow. That's the thing of it. That's the thing. The investigations are flawed greatly.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's always something.
Yeah. And where you're at in Colorado is it's kind of a hotbed of crazy there sometimes too.
Yeah, it is. I even did a session for that really famous case, the JonBenet Ramsey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was watching the news, and her dad, when did I do that? I did that like a year and a half ago. Her dad wanted the DNA. Now that technology is more advanced, that he wanted the DNA from the Boulder County, and they wouldn't give it to him. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do a session and see what she says. And I went down to the basement and did a real quick session, and a little girl's voice came through. Like, I know nothing about the case. I went in completely blind, and a little girl come through the spirit box. I said, "Who murdered you, JonBenet? Who was it that killed you?" And a little girl says, "Bill." And I was like, whoa, that was really clear. I stopped. I was like, whoa. And I went back upstairs, and I was like, it really bothered me. I was like, what are the chances there's a Bill that was a suspect? So I found a YouTube video and watched the findings of the case. And there was a suspect named Bill McReynolds. He was at the Ramsey's house the day before Christmas. He was dressed up as Santa, and he had a history of he had another incident that he was questioned on with kidnapping a little girl. So yeah, she said it was him, but he died in 90. When was it? He died in like 2005 or something on the East Coast. So, but the odds of that happening with me going into a case blind is just amazing.
Yeah, that's different. That's very different, because you really don't expect that at all. The fact that it was so clear, the answer was so clear.
Yeah, it's pinned at the top on my TikTok channel if you ever want to check that out. It was very clear. So
I have a feeling, Jonathan, I'm going to be camping on some of your stuff coming up. Well, because it's very, I mean, you can't really question something that's so clear.
Yeah, no, it was really clear. Like a little girl that was about her age, and I swear it sounds like her voice. Like I just watched the Jean Bonnet thing on Netflix, and when I heard her talk, like through an old tape recording, I was like, "Yeah, that's the voice I heard," and it said Bill, really, really clear. So,
Wow. It's just never ending. And it's always there's so many twists and turns when
yeah.
you do these sorts of things. Uh, and the evidence, like I said, that you get is just it's phenomenal, it seems. So yeah, I have a feeling I'm gonna be camping on your site and your TikTok
So,
too, apparently now.
so you were saying your favorite tool is cat balls. So if you play that one clip there, uh, this was the case in Wichita Falls, Texas, and I'll give you all the info. Go ahead and play this one. This one's really cool. I did it live on Facebook at that time. So
Oh wow.
Hey, Kathy, can you set off those other cat balls for me again? Said she's trying. Oh, there it
Oh
goes.
my.
One on the ground and the one up in the closet.
Oh geez.
This is good stuff. Yes, thank you, Kathy. That was remarkable.
That was a 2-for-1. It's wild when they do multiple devices
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's absolutely wild.
Yeah,
Um,
so that case, I was at home and I get this message um, from a 16-year-old girl, and she's like, I need your help. I need your help. And I was like, okay, so tell me what's going on. And um, a month before she sent the message, her mom was murdered in her house by her boyfriend, and she was there, and they arrested him and stuff, and but she was experiencing doors opening and closing. Um, she heard voices through the radio. She heard voices while she was sleeping. She was actually touched in the shower, is what she told me. It felt like a hand stroking down her back. And
ouch.
I went there, and greatest. I felt so sad for this family. Like I met her brother and her sisters and her other brother, and the whole family was there sitting behind me when I was doing that live.
Mm,
All 10 of them were along the back wall, and I was just like, oh my god. And
right.
you know that was the second night of being at that house that happened. And the third night, I never do live sessions on the third night. I kind of let them say goodbye, or make sure that it's kind of private, because I know I'd be leaving the next day to make sure that they're gone. But I left the spirit box going, and each one of them went into the room where that happened, and was able to say goodbye to their mom.
Mm,
And I tell you, every person that came out had their own experience and heard what they heard, and their eyes were just full of tears, and they
mm,
said thank you so much, thank you, because they were able to say goodbye to their mom and stuff. So that made it that's why I did that for free. I do all my stuff for free, because I don't think it's fair to charge for that stuff. So anybody that does, I think is a crook, and should be not doing what they're doing. So if we're not here to help each other, and that's another thing about talking to spirit, it's all based on your intentions.
mhm.
So if you go in with good intentions of helping the family or helping that spirit, you're going to
Exactly.
get much better responses, much clearer evidence than you would just going in proves the house is haunted, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, the house that I lived in Hermitage, Tennessee, was right down the street from the Hermitage home, and there in the one room where I had my office set up and my altar and so forth, there was literally this 19-year-old kid that literally just lived in that room. He was like, a friend of mine told me on several occasions, like, his name was William. He was like, William is just fascinated by your altar and the stuff that you do in this room. He never leaves. He's always here. I'm like, yeah, I know. Um, it's fascinating whenever they start communicating and you start working with them. But you're right, intention is everything. They know, they can sense how we feel, what we're thinking, and if you go into it with the wrong intention, they're not going to respond very kindly to you at all.
Yeah. So my brother passed away in 2021. I got a tattoo of that, and he was a U.S. Marshal, and he was on his way to another case, and he slammed into the back of a semi that wasn't fully pulled over, and you know, I'm grateful for what I do, and I'm able to talk to him whenever I need to, and you got a clip down there of me talking to my brother on his birthday, and I asked him if he has any messages for his martial buddies, and it's pretty intense. You can play that one. That
Wow.
one's pretty cool.
You have a message for your U.S. Marshal buddy? What do you want to tell your U.S. Marshal buddy?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So is there life after death? Me, I personally believe that once we pass on, our energy still exists, because energy can't be destroyed. It can only increase or be recycled. You know, do I believe there's a God, or you know, in religion? I don't believe in religion. I think it's a ploy to make people scared that if they don't behave rightly, you know, that they're going to go to one place or another. You know, and through all my research, I believe there's one source that could be called God, Allah, or Buddha, whatever you believe in. I believe there is a source. So, you know, when I need help or something, I'll say, source, please help, and you know, put that energy out into the universe. And you know, I think when we die, we can either go towards the light and begin our next life, you know, reincarnation, or you can turn your back away from the light and explore the universe on your own. You know, I think that's kind of sums up what my beliefs, what happens after we pass on. So I believe a lot of people turn their back to the light and want to explore, you know, and then when it's time to go to the light, they need help, you know, with what I do, and you know, to get them to find the light. So
Right. Yeah. There are several people that work on helping spirits cross over. And,
yeah,
you know,
that's what I do. I'm all in it for the spirits now. Like all these spirits in the cold cases, like at the end of every session, you know, I make sure I say, go towards the light. My guides are here to help you. There's ascension tube to my side. You know, my guides will help you to this tube, and you'll be able to pass on. So
the ones I always find interesting are the children, because
Yeah.
the children discover very quickly, oh wow, I can go here and I can go there and I can just like I'm free, I can do all this stuff. And they are very curious a lot of times, so a lot of times they're not really gun-ho about wanting to cross over so much, because they're still trying to explore things. They're still trying to
Yeah.
kind of, it's like, hey, I can go to Disneyland for free and hang out and, and
Yeah.
do all this stuff, and nobody's going to tell me no, because they can't. Um, or you do get those spirits who, unfortunately have bought into a lot of dogma and so forth, and they're scared to move forward. They don't know what to expect. And
Yeah, and that's all because of the churches believing, so when they do die, they don't know what to do, and it's whether they accidentally turned away from the light, now they're trapped and now they think this is hell, or whatever. And as far as evil entities, or demons, like, I don't believe in demons. I really don't. I think they're, if you were a jerk in your life and you didn't go towards the light, you're going to be a jerk in death, and
mhm.
the way that energy's manipulated, they can make themselves sound like whatever they want. So
Right. And I'm along the same lines of you to a degree with the idea of the afterlife and of source, in the the faith that I follow. Uh, I believe that source is both male and female, uh,
yeah,
mother and
it's energy.
father.
It's not
Right.
even a male or female. It's just pure energy is the source. It's what
Right.
everything is held together. I mean, if you get into the quantum aspect of it, we're all just electrons, neutrons held together in a vibration of frequency. Like everything around me, the table, everything's made of the same stuff. It's just vibrating at a different frequency. That's
Right.
all.
Right. And it's very interesting when you get into the concept of vibration, vibrational levels, and learning to manipulate those and so forth, and to be able to raise your vibrational levels. I think that's one of the things that's been very helpful for me, when it comes to working between the two worlds, is being able to lower and raise vibrational levels according to the need at the time.
Yeah,
And
I've heard even the CIA is working on a suit that works on the vibration, and once they find that one vibration, they'll be able to walk through walls and do all that stuff. So it's crazy. It really is. But if you think about it, we are all made of this same stuff. It's just how that frequency, if you can tune into it, your finger could go right through the desk, if you were
right,
able to get that exact frequency.
right, yeah. I've seen people become almost translucent, when they were doing decree sessions and so forth before, and it's a very empowering to see those sorts of things happen, where they're raising their vibrational level to the point where you can almost see through them.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have had quite a journey so far.
So far, yeah. Not sure if I'm gonna come back yet. I hope I do. Like I said, I just need to
Yeah.
get some things figured out, and uh, I'm, I'm glad I was able to come on. I'm glad Sin reached out, and Sin, if you're out there, hello. I hope you're watching.
She will. She definitely watches all of them. I am glad. I'm very grateful that you did come on today. I'm very grateful you shared your story with us, because it is definitely one of encouragement, for
Yeah,
sure. The
definitely.
fact that you have you know used your own resources and so forth to go and help other people, the fact that thank you for serving our country. By the way, that's a huge
Yeah.
thing in itself. One of my brothers rejoined the military right after 9/11 and went over there and did his time there too. And
You want to hear a real crazy story?
Sure.
So when my dad grew up in California. My dad, when he was 15, he was at the supermarket with my grandma, his mom, and President Reagan was running for governor of California at that time, and he was leaving, and he was in the back of his car. He rolled down the window as my dad was coming through, and my dad goes, "Hi, Mr. Reagan," and President Reagan put his hand out and he said, "You're going to do great things, young man." And my dad ended up becoming a professional football player for the Broncos. And my brother, my dad's son, my brother, he joined the Army and he got assigned to the Old Guard, which is up in Washington. And he was part of the caisson. And when President Reagan died, my brother was the one that rode the riderless horse with President Reagan's boots and the horse backwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he got to keep the boots, and he donated them to the Smithsonian. And it's just weird what a small world it is, and how one person saying something can lead back to something further in time. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow, you have some really great stuff going on there. You have a lot of good stuff to talk about.
It's just paying attention, like taking a step back and looking at things and just kind of, that didn't make sense right now, but it ends up, meaning something later down the road. So
definitely so. I want you to keep in touch with me and let me know what's going on and where you're at, because I really want to see you come back and do more work. And I realize it's a timing thing, and divine timing has a lot to do with everything. And everybody needs some rest time every once in a while. God knows I need to learn that more often. Resting is not a bad thing. So I'm gonna check out your YouTube.
I encourage everybody to go out. If you like the shorter TikTok videos, you can go check those out. Just look for JK47 Paranormal and put it in the search engine. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. So I haven't really done much with Instagram. I really don't like Instagram too much. So
I don't even get Instagram anymore. It's so weird.
Yeah. It's kind of like dead in the water to me. So
yeah, I did a reel on there today, and I was like, okay, that was okay. So I'm going to go on and wrap us up. If you will stay in backstage for just a moment,
sure.
Though, when I get through, I want to touch base with you again before we say our goodbyes today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I wish you nothing but love and light and success with your show. So, thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on, because it's definitely been very good. It's been very interesting and very enlightening.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. I don't think I've had a guest on ever that has so many interesting pieces of evidence before. I love this. I love this. You guys, give me some of your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about this show, what you thought about some of the evidence, because I got to tell you, my mind is blown by some of it. It is very good caps and catchers on there. Do not forget, this is the Tuesday show. Join me for the Paranormal Files on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I will be in the chat helping to foster some conversation on that show. And then, of course, the Friday Night Live on 7 p.m. on Friday night, always. And may your journey always be magical.
I've waited for so long to see when you come back to me. Through the wars and battles that were lost, we're born again, it's you and me. The rest is history. Past lives. Past lives. Did we dance together on different floors in 1500 or 1504? We must have been lovers, we must have been something in our past lives.